যখন ডিজিএমও স্তরের আলোচনা চলছিল তখন পাকিস্তান আমাদের গুরুত্বপূর্ণ ভেক্টরগুলির সরাসরি আপডেট পেয়েছিল চীন থেকে। পাকিস্তানকে অস্ত্র পরীক্ষার ল্যাবের মতো ব্যবহার করেছে চীন। অপারেশন সিন্দুর প্রসঙ্গে বিস্ফোরক তথ্য সামনে আনলেন ডেপুটি চিফ অফ আর্মি স্টাফ লেফটেন্যান্ট জেনারেল রাহুল পি সিং। আসুন এক ঝলকে আগে আপনাদের শোনাই কি বলছেন লেফটেন্যান্ট জেনারেল রাহুল পি সিং, শুনুন।
When the DGMO level talks were going on, Pakistan actually was mentioning that we know that your such and such important sort of vector is primed and it is ready for action. I would request you to perhaps, pull it back. So he was getting live inputs as far as from China. So that is one place we really need to move fast and take appropriate action.
যখন ডিজিএমও স্তরের আলোচনা চলছিল তখন পাকিস্তান আমাদের গুরুত্বপূর্ণ ভেক্টরগুলি সরাসরি আপডেট পেয়েছিল চীন থেকে। ভারতীয় সেনাবাহিনীর উপপ্রধান লেফটেন্যান্ট জেনারেল রাহুল আর সিং শুক্রবার একটি গুরুত্বপূর্ণ মন্তব্য করেছেন। ডেপুটি চিফ অফ আর্মি স্টাফ বলেন, অপারেশন সিন্দুর থেকে কিছু শেখার আছে। কয়েক বছর আগে আমরা যেভাবে যন্ত্রণা সহ্য করেছিলাম এখন আর সেভাবে গ্রহণ করার সুযোগ নেই। টার্গেট, পরিকল্পনা এবং নির্বাচন প্রযুক্তি এবং মানব বুদ্ধিমত্তা ব্যবহার করে সংগৃহীত প্রচুর তথ্যের উপর ভিত্তি করে করা হয়েছিল। মোট 21টা টার্গেট চিহ্নিত করা হয়েছিল, যার মধ্যে 9টিতে টার্গেট করা আমাদের যুদ্ধ বিমানের কাজ হবে বলে মনে হয়েছিল। এই বিষয়ে তিনি আর কি বললেন শুনবো সেটাও।
Let me not touch upon my understanding of Operation Sindoor, and I'll be very brief because it's all known to you all. And I'll come out with a few lessons that are important as far as Operation Sindoor is concerned. So, of course, Operation Sindoor, the defining thing was that leadership, the strategic messaging by leadership was unambiguous. You cross our red lines and there would be action. There would be punitive action if required. There is no scope of absorbing the pain the way we did a few years ago. So that is one important message that stands out loud and clear. Second, as far as Operation Sindoor was concerned, the planning and selection of targets was based on a lot of data that was collected using technology and I would say human intelligence. So a total of 21 targets were actually sort of identified, out of which 9 targets we thought would be prudent to engage. When we looked at those 9 targets, and it was not that the 9 targets that we decided upon was a decision which did not change. Till the last day, the targets, there was eye on the targets that were there and we kept monitoring the locations. It was only on the final day or the final hour that the decision was taken that these 9 targets would be engaged. A considered decision was taken. It will be a tri-services approach to send the right message that we indeed are an integrated force. So, Army, Navy, Air Force all played their part as far as targeting was concerned. We saw various, or we are seeing various conflicts playing out. So an important consideration was that we should always be on top of the escalation ladder. When we reach a political military objective, we should try and put a stop to it. So a lot of naysayers say, why did we stop now? So war is easy to initiate, but it's very difficult to control. So I would say that was a very masterly stroke that was played to stop the war at an appropriate time. And this time, when the target engagement started, how we controlled the escalation, it was only the terrorist targets that were engaged in the first phase and information warfare. A message was sent that we have only engaged your militant targets, the terrorist targets, we would like to put an end to it. However, Pakistani side decided that no, they wanted to sort of come equal. They engaged our military targets. So in step 2 of the escalation, a very strong message was sent by engaging their military targets in a manner that on 10th of May, there was a message from the military operations, Pakistan, that they would want a ceasefire. Of course, we completed our mission to ensure that we end the conflict on top of the escalation ladder. And thereafter, of course, it is all about information warfare, how the narrative shape out. That's another domain that could be discussed. And the reason why this particular thing happened, because there was a punch that was ready, and they realized that hidden punch, in case that comes through, Pakistan would be in a very, very bad condition. So that was the reason why they asked for a ceasefire.
তিনি আরো বলেন, বিমান প্রতিরক্ষা এবং পুরো অভিযানের সময় এটা কিভাবে কার্যকর ছিল তার গুরুত্বপূর্ণ বিষয় ছিল। এবার আমাদের জনসংখ্যা কেন্দ্রগুলোতে খুব একটা গুরুত্ব দেওয়া হয়নি, তবে পরের বার আমাদের এর জন্য প্রস্তুত থাকতে হবে। আমাদের কাছে ছিল একটা সীমান্ত এবং দুটো প্রতিপক্ষ, আসলে তিনটে। পাকিস্তান সামনে ছিল, চীন সম্ভাব্য সকল সাহায্য দিচ্ছিল। এই বিষয়ে আর কি বললেন লেফটেন্যান্ট জেনারেল রাহুল পেসিং, সেটাও শুনবো।
Another important thing during Op Sindoor was air defense and how it panned out. So it is good, bad. We could do a lot. Mr. Ashok did talk about it, that some of our indigenous systems performed well, some did not perform very well too. So it's of course a cat and mouse game, as I was mentioning outside. We need to be at it. This time, thankfully, our population centers were not quite addressed. In the next round, we have to be prepared for that, and for that, more and more air defense, more and more counter rocket, artillery, drone sort of a system has to be prepared, for which we have to move very, very fast. So few lessons that I thought I must flag as far as Operation Sindoor is concerned. Firstly, one border, two adversaries. So we saw Pakistan one side, but adversaries were two, and if I would say actually four or three actually. So Pakistan was the front face. We had China providing all possible support, and it's no surprise, because if you were to look at statistics, in the last 5 years, 81% of the military hardware that Pakistan is getting is all Chinese, 81% of that. So it's no surprise. And China, of course, the good old dictum, killed by a borrowed knife, 36 stratagems that China talks about, killed by a borrowed knife. So he would rather use the neighbor to cause pain than getting involved in the mud-slinging match on the northern border. So that is what he's seen. And another thing that China perhaps has seen is that he's able to test his weapons against, say, various other weapon systems that are there. It's like a live lab which is available to him. So it's a good, that is what is something we have to be very, very cognizant about. Again, Turkey also played a very important role in providing the type of support that was there. Bayraktar, of course, he's been giving from before. We saw numerous other drones also coming in, landing in the face of war, during the war, along with trained sort of individuals who were there. The next important lesson is the importance of C4ISR and civil military fusion. There is a lot to be done as far as this domain is concerned. When the DGMO level talks were going on, Pakistan actually was mentioning that we know that your such and such important sort of vector is primed and it is ready for action. I would request you to perhaps, pull it back. So he was getting live inputs as far as from China.
আরো আপডেট পেতে দেখতে থাকুন আজ তাক বাংলা। সাবস্ক্রাইব করুন, নোটিফিকেশন পেতে বেল বাটন অপশন প্রেস করুন, হোয়াটসঅ্যাপে ফলো করুন আজ তাক বাংলা।